George Kilpatrick, Inspiration for the Nation, celebrating people we feel good about. Two brothers doing big things here in the Syracuse community. They ain't brothers, but they are brothers. Eli Smith is the CEO of Eli Smith Contractors. Emo Henderson III is the president, CEO of JHP Industrial Supply, legacy business. And these young men are doing some big things. One of the first Black-owned developments in the community, Salina First, happening on the South Side. They got some big news to share. They got a little injection in their in the business plan, and we'll get to that in just a moment. Before we get to your news about what's happening next week and how there's some opportunities even in the development that you have, I posed a question to you, Eli and Guy. Both of you have experienced sort of a what do you call what happened with Micron last week? I don't know what you call that. What was that? But obviously Micron, with their announcement of a $100 billion investment over 20 years towards for their development of a microfab facility, megafab facility in Clay, New York, which they say will contribute to 9,000 direct hires potentially, and up to 50,000 new jobs. This is indeed a transformative piece for our community. And so they have held a series of information sessions, meeting with various different constituencies. And as you all know, because you've been in some of those conversations, they didn't come for no BS. You know what I mean? Like, they came for the real deal. So I'm interested from your perspective, each of you, how entrepreneurs, how the Black community in particular, because that's what my interest and your interest is in particular. Obviously, we do business with everybody, but we have a special concern for our community. How can Black folk as a community, as entrepreneurs, as business people, position themselves when companies like Micron come to town, and other companies who will obviously be attracted to Syracuse because of a Micron and the investment that they're making? How can our community position themselves when other companies come, or even position themselves for Micron right now? And I know Emo, AKA Guy, I go in between. I know you have something to say about that. So let me start with you.
I do, George. It was a fantastic week last week. The announcement, them coming here, and it was probably a culture shock to some of our businesses when you talk about $100 billion.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've been in business a long time, and those zeros are longer than what I've made before. But strategically talking about how our entrepreneur businesses are going to work on this project and operate, I think my concern is, I think us as business owners need to work with each other first and come together as businesses to even grasp the concept about working on $1 billion, and once they see that we can work together, it'll be an easy fix for them to work with us. And that's in any community.
Yeah. And so when you say working together, what are the barriers, as you've observed it as an entrepreneur? Now, look, you and Eli are working together, so you're even destroying that trope. But what have been the barriers of Black folk, of Black-owned businesses in particular, working together? Tell it to me straight.
I think it's the economic, the money field. Our businesses worry about what one other business is going to work instead of worrying about what the group is going to make. And things of that nature. When you create mentor proteges and joint ventures, that means the organization is going to make the money, not the individual companies. And I think we got to grasp that concept, and we got to get out of that the slave mentality of thinking that it's just me. When the whole thing is we. How are we going to prosper? Not how I am going to prosper.
Eli, how do you answer that question? What can entrepreneurs do?
So first, thank you, George, for letting me be a part of Inspiration for the Nation.
Here we go.
see your smiling face as always. Good to see my mentor, Emanuel Henderson, who's doing this second generation for so many years.
Mm-hmm.
Just between the two of you, so much wisdom on this platform. And going back to your first question, besides it being transformational, George, Micron's doing it. Like Emanuel said, we've never seen this kind of money ever in this community, ever, right? So this is a first.
Yeah.
Things are a first. We got to first say, wow, and then we got to say, are we ready to engage, right?
Yeah.
And how do we engage, right? So part of being ready to engage, I always say, is being at the table, right? And last week, Manuel, myself, and some other Black businesses and nonprofits were able to engage with the executives with Micron. And what I learned personally is that they're ready to do business with Black businesses. And they asked that question, what are Black leaders, are Black businesses ready to go right now, today, right? And that's not to say if you're not ready to go today, remember, this is a 20-year project. That doesn't mean you can't scale to be ready to go in year 3 or 4 of your business, right? So if we're starting in, ideally, from what I'm told and from what I read, 2023, they're starting with the site and civil work out in Clay, New York. 2024, they're going to be starting with the construction. So you have a year and a half, 2 years possibly to get your stuff together and start forming those relationships on a bigger scale, like Emanuel said, with doing some JVs or some mentor protege relationships. And I always say, don't look just inside of the 315, right? If you're a business, you want to look outside, or sometimes even outside of New York State. Because $100 billion is a lot of money, right? And so there are companies that have done this before on a bigger and larger level than any of our businesses are here in Syracuse, New York. So it's going to require us to find those companies that truly want to work with minority business. Just don't give away your Blackness, as I say, to become a pastor. Find companies that truly value you as a business and then go partner with you.
And I think, so what I'm hearing from you both is, one, practice working together with businesses here in the community, right? So that's one thing. But also, you don't have to be limited to just this community in terms of what you might have to offer. Think big, think globally, because again, this is a global company, right? They chose Syracuse to build for a global market, right? And so how are you positioned to do that? And how do you show up in the space to do that? The reason why this was interesting to me, and I'm interested in hearing from you guys about this, is because, off what you said to me earlier, Guy, was that they came into the room serious. They've heard it all before. The promises have been made, and most of the time those promises are not delivered. And just the way that they've engaged, there is an opportunity here right now for you as a business owner from various different capacities. So I just wanted to pose that to you all, to you both, in terms of how you see these opportunities showing up for real, right? And that you said, Eli, you said, start building that relationship. You got a year and a half to build that relationship. If there are paperwork things you got to do, you got a year and a half to get that together. But keep building. What I'm hearing you say, it's keep building on that relationship so that when it comes time to make that phone call, you're going to be ready right now to meet some of the needs that they have right now.
Most definitely. When I was at dinner last Wednesday, I went to dinner 5 nights last week with some of the executives.
You said you went to dinner 5 nights?
Yeah, 5. Every night I was with a different executive and meeting with Micron executives last week. And one of the dinners I went with, because I'm in construction, as you all know, and so I was very interested in the construction phases. One of the dinners that I spoke with Buddy, a gentleman by the name of Buddy and Dell. Buddy oversees the global construction for Micron. So my first question to him was, who have you guys used in past construction projects that I might be able to go partner with? And he was very open to that. He said, listen, these are the two companies that we used in the past. He gave me the names, and he said, go engage them. He goes, but then there's a second piece, the most important piece. He said, is this. You have to go through their pre-qualification form and their paperwork. And he said, that's 265 pages. So he reached out to a lady by the name of Heather. Many of your listeners want to know who that is. I'll be glad to share her email address with any of your listeners. But Heather is head of procurement, global procurement. And so she's going to send me first. You have to receive an NDA from Micron. And the second, you go through their pre-qualification forms. So that's what I'm talking about. Be ready to engage, right? Ask those questions. How can I work? Whether you're a service or you're selling a product, there's going to be so many different reasons to work with Micron because there's so much money to spread around.
So, and we're going to have you keep speaking up louder, Eli, because we're losing some of the end of your stuff. But I really appreciate what you're saying because and your willingness to share. You said, I got the email, I'll give it to you, right?
Right. Yes, 100%. I'll be willing to share. Anyone can email me at eli@esmithcontractors.com if you want the email address for Heather, and I'll be sure to share it with you and Buddy.
Yeah,
George. Heather Baldwin is the vice president of procurement, and we did have conversations with her, and she was very open about how to do business with Micron. And she isn't a person of color, but Dr. Robert Simmons was, and I was very impressed about people of color in Micron, how they spoke and how they can do. They didn't say maybe I can do. They talk about this is how we can do, and if we can't do it, we'll get you in touch with the people who can. We haven't heard that from people who came in this town before. This is new, refreshing, and very, very, very inspiring to see people of color in this business with that type of power.
And by the way, Robert Simmons is going to be the keynote speaker at the Center State CEO Economic Champions Luncheon. So make sure that if you haven't gotten a ticket to that, that'd be a great thing for people if you want to see him in the flesh. Just picking up on that, the two of you working together, how did y'all? I mean, so this is like walking the walk. Y'all are working together, right? And y'all are proving that it's possible. Tell me about this partnership.
Go ahead. You want me to go, Emanuel?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So we are talk about first. There's a lot of firsts in Syracuse, right? So Emanuel gave me my first multi-million-dollar job. He's the man that's responsible for that. And since then, we've been working together, East Smith SGTR with JHB on numerous projects together. We order many of our supplies through this company. So it only makes sense. We only do business with people you trust, right? And that's the people who you should do business with. So when I started looking at doing a development project, it was a no-brainer for me to talk about this because I was always talked about this, as he says, with his father about how do we do this together. So when we brought in Gail Monteplaisir from Washington, D.C., who's a developer there, and so we formed a 3-team all-star team, the A team, to do the first all-minority project in Syracuse, New York, that is 66% Black, right? So this is exciting. It's going to be a 5-story building, mixed use, affordable housing, which is going to be incredible, right on the south side of Syracuse.
And you just got $1 million. Tell me about this.
Yeah, that $1 million came from the BDF, the Black Economic Development Fund. It was designated to help Black-owned developers do business because they understood, and I'm going to tell you exactly how they put it. We understand the barriers, which access to capital. So if we take that elephant out of the room, you can get this project going. And we applied, and they was graciously happy to supply us with that money.
So and so that's obviously a big deal. Each of you were working on a couple of things. Eli, as you know, and Eli partnered with Inspiration. I partnered with them. It's Eli's thing, the dream, right? The Dream Summit to help with some of the media and to really we live stream this and made it accessible and still accessible. So you worked on that, which was a big deal. And I didn't know this. And I was talking to Emo about this, that he was an investor in that, but I was like, you was quiet with that. I said, listen, I don't have to have my name on everything to put to be involved with stuff. And so the Dream Summit is, would you say it was a success, Eli?
I would say so. The community thinks it's a success. Even outside of Syracuse, they're asking us to go to different cities. And our sponsors stepped up to the plate. And I think overall, just what we wanted to have happen for the Dream Summit, it happened, right?
Yeah.
We, of course, like anything else, we can do better. So next year, we're going to do it on a weekday, right, George? You and I talked about that instead of doing it on a weekday, right? We're going to make it more accessible to the generation that needs it the most, right? Which we need to get the young people between the age group of 16, 25, get their butts in the seats. How do we do that, right? And how do we get sponsors to buy seats for the kids, for nonprofits that, the Boys and Girls Club, the Good Life, the list goes on and on. Pretty Girls Rock, all the people that need to hear it from Hillside. So we want the young people to learn from entrepreneurs like yourself, George, like Emanuel, like, Darren Price, and the list goes on and on. There's so many wonderful Black leaders that are doing great things in Central New York. But while at the same time, you get the big headliners to come in as well to just wow them. It's just a full day excitement ending with, the weekend celebration of a gala.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I know that Emo, you and I were talking about this. The Tucker Missionary Baptist Church is having their Full Life Festival. You were an investor with that. And why was that important to you?
I think it was just time. It was time for the community to start healing. So many gun violences, drug overdoses, and all of these things that different pastors and preachers from Houston, Detroit, that are coming in and speaking about the experiences and letting the people in this community know that there is hope. Hope. So when they asked me, and Eli was an investor in that also.
There you go.
Things behind the scenes that businesses do, I don't need to be out front. I like to be a silent partner, and I'm okay with that. JHP's been around for 41 years, Jordan. If you can't get any accolades from being a business that happens to be minority in 4 decades, I don't know what else you could be excited about.
Man, this is wonderful. So next week, or this week, you have a open house of some sorts on your property. Tell me about that, on the Salina First development.
Yeah, the Tech Gardens. We're going to have a real estate development reception just to get people to know about our project, what opportunities are available for them to either rent space, rentals for the 1 and 2 bedroom apartments that's going to be available, and just for them to meet the developers that are a part of this community. Because a lot of people know when they talk about development, they don't see us.
Right.
They don't see us. So this is a great opportunity for people to meet me and Eli and Gail to get a sense of, let me say, the flavor that's going to be happening on Salina First.
No, that's good. That's really important. The flavor on Salina First. So tell us where it is. How it's at the Tech Garden. What time?
It's going to be from 6 to 8.
Okay.
6 to 8 on the 10th of November. And people will have an opportunity to, look at some sketches of what it's going to look like, what the green area is going to look like, what the maker space is going to look like, what the residential is going to look like, and what the office space is going to look like. I think it's just going to be fantastic for the community to come out and just see people of color doing it again.
Yeah, I love it. And Eli, I mean, you already had your groundbreaking. So what will we see? Well, so where can people look to see the makings of this project? What's the corner?
So it's right off. Emanuel, what's the corner? You hit me with
Burt and Salina.
Burt and okay, so right there. Okay, Burt and Salina.
Right. Kitty corner right there, right across from the new JMA Wireless building.
There you go. And if you think about
also, George, you can follow it on social media as well. We have it on Facebook and Instagram. Every week we're doing update videos of what's happening at the site as things are being moved, birds being moved around, and new soils being brought in and capped.
All right, we're losing you. Speak up, brother. Speak up.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
All right. What I said is they can also follow us on Facebook and also on Instagram. There's a page for both of them that will discuss where the site is at and show actual videos of the site and the update as far as the soils and the civil work that's being done.
All right, the Tech Garden is located at 235 Harrison Street, which is, so let me go through all the different incarnations. The old Money Tower or the AXA Tower. I don't even know, what is it called now?
Right across the street from the hotel.
Okay, there you go. Whatever those towers are called now, it's right across the street from the hotel, which is the downtown Syracuse Marriott, formerly Hotel Syracuse. So you got to go through all the machinations right there on Warren Street, 235 Harrison Street. The Tech Garden is where the reception for the open house kind of thing, 6 to 8 on Thursday, November the 10th. And just stop by, say hello to Eli and Emo, and see what some Black brothers do in the community. And I say that because, and you want to say something?
Oh.
Yeah, I was going to say, I say that because I have no reservations about bigging up brothers doing positive things in the community. There's a whole lot of news about other stuff going on. And every time I get a chance to big up you brothers, I'm happy to do it. So check out these brothers Salina first. Check them out on Facebook and social media. Emo Henderson the third and Eli Smith. Emo Henderson, JHP Industrial Supply, Eli Smith Contractors, or E. Smith Contractors. Can I just say, keep doing the damn thing? To my church folks, I apologize, but I just needed to say it that way. So,
George, this is your show, so you can say whatever you want to say.
That's right?
But the truth is the best thing to say.
Listen,
and, I want to tell your listeners, if you haven't already gotten out, come to the Full Life Festival at Tucker Missionary Baptist Church. You'll definitely enjoy yourself.
By the time they hear this, it will have happened, but it was really good.
I appreciate it.
Listen, and Pastor Draper, shout out to him as well, and the work they're doing down there. So in the meantime, I know what that is. Okay. In the meantime, you brothers keep doing good work, and you are both an inspiration for the nation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, George. Appreciate it.